Hello, in the Good Company podcast. Anna Malos Kisman here with weekly dose of inspiration, motivation, thought provocation, all with the goal for you and me to have more juicy, more fulfilling, and more aligned life. I am playing with rebranding of my podcast. What are your thoughts? What do you think? I am playing with two new names and kind of refresh, putting new energy behind it. Why not? Why not to rebrand? Let's see what happens. Okay, should we talk about the greed and power? Lately, when I was driving a car, I was thinking about this one thing. So we are so many thousand years on this planet, and it seems like, and I think it's like based on this historical book I read recently, and I was just like seeing how we repeat the history. But I think what we most struggle with in this thousands and thousands of years is greed and power. And I'm thinking, oh my God, we invented so many things already. We are so advanced with medicine. We are so advanced with technology. We have freaking AI talking and spitting all kind of information in seconds to us, whatever we ask. Look at the cities we built, the cars we invented. Like, oh my God, we advanced so much. And seems like the power, hunger, and greed are kind of our Achilles heels that we just struggle over and over and over. And it's kind of insane. You know what I mean? Because we progress so much and we are stuck in the same behaviors. That, by the way, why it's so insane. We know everybody who gets a lot of money, everybody who gets a lot of power, if they are, anyway conscious, because we know that there are some people that are completely not self-aware, and they are in some kind of delusional state, but they can tell you that the money and the power never gave them true fulfillment. And then we are, going after it again and again and again. Insanity, right? So I was thinking, like, where is that coming from? And I was reading a lot about it. I also asked ChatGPT about it. And this interesting thought that, we come from like a smaller group of people. So our genetics are, coming through the lineage. And we still ran, it seems like, on the psychological and evolution and from the evolutionary history standpoint, we still ran this initial fear of resources, of fear of being a prey, right, or predators that our ancestor a while ago had to, physically endorse, resources as in food, as in survival, and then power and survival from predators. And I feel like we are still on some level running this gene, which is so interesting. And I don't know if you ever, that's why I love my kids and sometimes watching stuff with them. I don't know if you ever watched the movie called Croods. And it's about this family of like prehistorical family who is just like fights for survival. And it really hit me when I was watching that there's this fear of survival and resources somewhere in us. And sometimes it still gets reactivated in certain situations, right? Even me, I'm looking like I am hoarding food. Like when I shop, and I think it also comes from like communism, growing up in communism when there was nothing in stores. I love to have a full fridge. Like I love to have a full fridge. When our fridge goes down, I feel anxiety, when there was a pandemic and there was like, you went to the store and there were like empty shelves, like I got anxiety. I was getting anxiety attack, like internal anxiety attacks. So I, for example, when I observe myself, and this is like a first step you can do, like, look, where are you hoarding resources? Like, where are you like grasping, right? Being greedy, because greed, it's not only with money, it's also with resources. Like I am slightly greedy with food. Like I overcook. I overbuy food. I like to have it stuffed. I love, oh my God, I created pantry in our house and I just love, like, this is like my best feeling ever when I go down and the pantry is like toilet paper, rice, pasta sauces, olive oil. I love it. It just like gives me like such a peace of mind. So look at where are you greedy. And again, it doesn't have to be with money. It can be also with resources. And then like power tripping. Sometimes I feel like I do power trip a little from my ego with my kids. I stop myself, but I do feel that at times. And I think that's a tricky one, the power trip, because it's harder to detect. I almost and harder to kind of be honest with yourself. But I do sometimes feel like I slightly power trip with my kids. And also it's so hard because, you know, one of my parenting things is that my kids, I am their first authority. So I always like them to challenge me because I want them in the future to challenge any authority they are going to interact with if that's needed. But then it sometimes bites me in the ass because sometimes I just want to like have things done, go somewhere, do something fast, and then I get challenged and like, you know, negotiations start and I'm like, oh my god, why did they started it? Why did they allow it to happen? That they like challenge me at times, and that's when my power tripping comes in. But then I was like, okay, I know there's like a bigger picture of them learning to stand up for themselves, and again, you know, we as parents are first authority in front of our kids. So that's where I do that. And then obviously, you know, there's this psychological part of it that sometimes people who experience a lot of power and experience a lot of money just scared to lose it because they also know maybe potentially how it was when there was no money and there was no power, right? And then you're like, oh my god, I don't want to lose it, and then you hoard it, and then I think it's just like all this politics up now and this boys club up there. That's how it works, right? Like they have so much power and they are greedy with it and want to keep it because it feels good, right? It feels good when everybody say yes to you and everybody is just serving you on the silver platter and you can do anything you want in the world because you have so many resources. Like who would want to lose that position, right? So that's one of the interesting thing. And then let me see my little research here. So how to prevent it, like how to stop this pattern of ours, either if it's psychological or if it's like evolutional history and it's running through us. Obviously, like all self-awareness, right? Like being self-aware when I'm greedy with resources, with anything, where I am in fear and kind of power tripping, and being aware of that, but also like educating yourself and educating your kids. You know, I love with my kids to go and do, we haven't done it in the summer, so we have to go back to the schedule, but do through Honeycomb some kind of volunteering to understand, you know, how helping others, how important it is, you know, how joyful it is, how good it feels in your body. I love to do that. You know, recently I found a bird on the when we were walking a dog, and we had like a whole adventure with saving this bird, and I thought it was like such a beautiful little experience of helping somebody, something in need, something smaller, something. It was just like and my daughters were like so into it, but I thought it was like a great experience to have this little lesson of like support and helping others. And also, like, you know, our systems are so, like, I remember corporate America, it's just so rewarded when you have somebody who is cutthroat and it's climbing this ladder, and you know, and it's strong and even aggressive in how they work. And I think it's a little less, but it used to be so much more rewarded and looked up to, right? And also our glorification of people who have money as a society, right? Like it means success, it means that you are better on some level than others, that you are able to achieve. But there's just so many components to becoming successful. I think somebody once said that there's just such an element of luck in it, you know, like almost like even if you start a company, you have to start at the right time, have a right support system. There's just so many elements that it's almost like consider almost like a luck, right? You are so lucky because there's so many components around to need to work together for you to succeed. So how to kind of educate it and learn it, like again, awareness and then kind of education, any kind of understanding how you can help, how I can help, teaching our kids. I think it's just so important to understand that we are in the community, we are in it together, we are always supporting each other. I think it's a key. What else we have here? And then, like, you know, we reward greed and kind of, you know, climbing the ladder and glorifying people with money. But like how to do the opposite, how to endorse and glorify being a kind person, right? Like working together, right? Like how in companies to reward versus one person, a team effort, like a community effort, right? Reward any kind of volunteering efforts or mentoring efforts within the company. I think there's like so many small ways. I always like to, when somebody does something, lately I started it a few months ago, when somebody does something nice to me, I always like to highlight, like say it straight to you, like I really, really appreciate how kind you are. Like, just say it openly and just like in your face. Like, I really, it's kind of like rewarding, not like, oh, thank you so much. It's like, no, thank you so much. And I really appreciate how kind you are, to point it out. It's kind of with the kids, like this idea of not only saying, hey, good job, but really pointing of like, hey, I really like how you clean this room and how you organize it and how you put everything away and you did it in such an amount of time. Like, be very, very specific. I like to do that, and I think that's a small thing that we all can do, like point out this moment of kindness, generosity with time, with just being a human, and point to that and reward even with the word for that. I think it's a small way. What else we have? I think that's it. So how fascinating. Like, it's just for me so fascinating that we can just grow so much and again invent and create so much around us, and we deal with the same freaking our pain points and our weaknesses for ages. I almost feel like this is the time, to start being even more aware of it and break those patterns. Because again, like how insane it is that knowing that having all this power won't make you happy, having all this money won't make you happy. Actually, it may do opposite, make you be even more alone, more isolated, and really focusing on these things that truly matter in life, right? Like purpose, like it's not about gaining money and being rich. It's like about being purposeful, feeling purposeful in your life, right? About connection with other people, about purpose, connection, and what else is there? Purpose, connection, and what else is important in life, guys? It's definitely purpose, connection, and just meaning, right? Like just having this meaningful, truly deeply meaningful life. So emphasizing on that, and by ourselves, for ourselves, like what is how the genuine and intimate connection with others look for me? How does a meaningful life and work looks to me? What is true purpose for me? What does it mean? How does the true purpose feels for me? I think that's something that we should focus on more. Yeah. So how is your relationship with power and greed? Today the episode was all about not only love and light, but also a lot of greed and power shadow. Until the next time, sending you so much love.